a lot of lane prio with this Lucian.
This might be the third Lucian build variation that we see today, which is kind of hilarious.
It's also not going to be Keen's Viego. We know that he'll be playing the Gwen, so this could be Fly playing Viego, but more likely it's going to be Dread. So
yeah,
very different style here from Afreeca than what we saw previously in our first series from Summit and Gang here at Live Sandbox. So, and with this ban on the Victor, we're already kind of looking at, okay, this is definitely going to be jungle Viego. Let's ban away the scaling AP mid lanes that Fly can play. Might even just see a ban on the Orianna, to be honest. This is the final ban here for Nongshim.
Yeah, it could happen. Certainly a few options. Fly could go back to something like a Lulu if he would like to. Karma is still up and available as well. Might be something Nongshim snap away themselves as Nara is taken away from Rich. Rich could, of course, be playing the Lucian. This was in his wheelhouse, absolutely.
There's the Orianna.
Yep.
So, really curious to see what Fly ends up playing here because the LeBlanc is removed. So, I would love to see Fly play something like a Syndra, but the comp doesn't really warrant that just yet.
Feeling like maybe he'll just play Karma.
It's
if
possible.
He can. But we'll see.
It's, you know, it's decent with what they have. It gives them a lot of extra mobility, a lot of extra ability to close the gap with these champions.
Doctor locked in. Okay, never mind. We were still banning the Leona. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Let's see what Doctor decides to lock in here for either Gori or Rich or Kellen.
Yeah.
Or himself, I guess, if the Aphelios is somehow we're gonna have double AD carry solo lanes.
Yeah.
That seems not that okay.
I don't think that's
to
gonna
me.
happen. Looks like it's just gonna be the Nautilus here.
Cards close to the chest here.
Kellen, you know, had a decent performance earlier. There were definitely some overextensions, let's just say, but will be the Rel to counter this for Afreeca. And you know, I'm still wondering where we're heading for Fly. Like, that's the biggest question for me right now, because you can also go Azir here, and I think it's still decent if you're looking for just a little bit more scaling, a little bit more late game, plus the ability to kind of buffer against the aggression you'll see from Nongshim. Fairly low range, high damage.
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind it. It's also a champion that you can play an easy laning phase with. It's, you know, not really one of the Fly's favorites, but he'll go down the Rise path instead.
Yeah, it will be the Rise. Bit of an old pick for Fly. And when you talk about Rise being an old pick for someone, well, they're obviously a very different champion now. Rise has been through about a bajillion different iterations, so we'll have to see how Fly does on this particular variety of the Rise.
Be his first time this season, even though it's been very popular here in the LCK, as we're just going to see, we're going to go back to the Jace for Rich here once again.
Yeah.
Now you've got guaranteed prio in the early game for 2 lanes, and you have the ultimate scaling AD carry in Aphelios. It's Duckdom's Aphelios too, so arguably probably top 3 in the LCK, if not top 2 in terms of performances we've seen on the Aphelios. I'm really liking the draft here for Nongshim, liking their chances here. They have great engage tools too. With Gravitas, they have, of course, Moonfall.
Yep.
And there's a lot of ways to set up that explosive power.
I think so too. I'm interested in how this one's actually going to go, because it looks like Nongshim just have all of the priority ever in the early game, outside of potentially the bottom lane, if Leo can land a lot of these piercing arrows and get this lane moving. It's
Gwen jungle.
Oh.
With exhaust. So that's gonna be a little bit of a question mark for me. Let's see how this one plays out, because we have not seen that yet in the LCK. Dread will be playing this one out, unless it's gonna be, you know, no, he's got Smite locked in, so it's not gonna be like they're swapping roles or anything.
Yeah, no,
it's just gonna be Gwen jungle.
He has been playing it recently. I hadn't actually checked up on his solo queue. His last victory on Gwen jungle, he went 14-0-6 in Korean Grandmaster, so
it can be very snowbally.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and you've got the exhaust, so you have a lot of extra lockdown to actually chase and get those kills. I like the idea, but if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, but if I were to be in this case, my money's on Nongshim's comp. You've got comfort picks for Duckdom, you've got comfort pick for Rich, you've got prio in 2 lanes, and you've got a strong late game to back it all up.
Well, looking forward to seeing how Dread snips. We haven't seen too much snipping from the jungle, so certainly a lot of fun. Got a bit of a zoom in here, and yeah, just taking our scissors to some of the monsters. As Peanut, just going to come through and miss the initial queue, as Kellen now keeping his eye on what Afreeca are doing as they move in and get some vision. And as Dread taking a bit of damage here, Gori just going to dash after him. Everyone flashing, and yeah, he's real dead.
When you see that exhaust in the loading screen, you're like, might want to be aggressive against that in the early game.
Do you know what he did immediately after that? 2 pings on the flashes.
Yeah.
Saying the flashes are down. Don't worry, guys.
Well, you know what? I don't think Rich is going to be too worried about that into the Viego in the early part of things. And
yeah.
Peanut, you know, since he was involved in this early kill and gets a lot of extra gold, I don't think he's going to be too upset if he runs into Dread with no flash later on.
Oh, yeah, okay. Rich, you can't really forgive Dread for that one, can you? He wanted to get the ward on the red buff, but...
Not to mention, I mean, yeah, like you said, he wanted to red buff ward it, but also it's a Jace who can hit you at long range. Like, you're super easily punished from this. He also loses his exhaust, so he's not going to have that either. It's not a great look so far for what could have been the X factor in this really interesting composition for Afreeca.
I know, right? And it's really sad that it all kind of goes pear-shaped so early, because then we don't really get the true information about how powerful this Gwen jungle can be.
Or he still pops off and totally crushes because just Gwen things, and then we're like, okay, we really learned how powerful it is. But I don't think the cup is half full in this case, at least not yet.
As Kellen, with his Titan's Wrath, procced a little bit, inconsequentially. Land's going to pop on over, knows that there's no button available for this Nautilus, but joke's on you, Nautilus can just stun you by hitting you with an auto attack.
Yep. Shields traded here, essentially.
Yep.
And it's going to be pretty uninteresting at the end of things, but
yeah.
Observers are trying. Show us something. After, what was an explosive start to this game, you got to follow up with something. It's hard.
Yep. Dr. of course, a very, very practiced Aphelios player. Would have really liked Kellen to be on his very, very powerful Thresh, but he'll take a different hook champion instead in this Nautilus. Not going to provide quite as much, mobility assistance,
look
but
at
does
this
have a lot of peel availability.
Top timing here for Dread. If he has exhaust, this is amazing, but he doesn't. Peanut's here.
Yeah, Peanut. Is he actually going to get here in time, though, is the question. Remember, doesn't have flash. As in goes Peanut. There it is. Gets the reset beautifully. As Dread's trying to get the snip, and oh no! Such a disaster for Afreeca. And after the first game, where everything was going so well, and Nongshim steal away the game, I was wondering whether tilt was going to be something we needed to talk about.
I mean,
oh man.
You and I were definitely kind of discussing the possibility of it during the break, but when I saw that coming up, I'm like, okay, well, this looks like a pretty planned out timing, right? Like, you know that Jace is going to be pushing the lane in the early game like this, as Fly is just going to get chunked down. You know that Jace is pushing the lane at this time, so you have an opportunity to roam up. If you have the exhaust in this moment, then you can get that kill first and then maybe get out of there, but Peanut also was very aware, and the timing of him actually clearing his Krugs was massive. Now he's going to steal camps away, and this game is going to really start rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
I'm starting to pick up matchboxes already, for putting back the Katamari reference.
So. Yeah, the matchbox is most definitely being picked up. I think there's books and things like that. Also, we are, of course, talking to a different way of saying snowball, because I feel like we say snowball a lot, especially given the current meta of League of Legends. So we're thinking Katamari might be a more fun version. As Nongshim think ganking King is going to be more fun. As Gori turns up, Peanut just hanging out underneath the turret here as Keen is going to pop out of the mist and head back to the death chamber.
Just for a second there, it looked like everyone was about to be like, no, it's your turn to aggro the turret for this fight. Like, I am not going to take responsibility.
This game is basically done, Wolf. This is really, really rough.
I mean, this is basically unwinnable now because we're looking at a 2,000 gold lead. Now, Ryze can scale up later on to do a decent amount of damage. Obviously, the Varus can poke his way to victory if things go well, but you're not going to have a front line anymore as Nongshim, and you don't really have a jungler anymore either. So just watch this exchange earlier as Jace just barely gets out, right?
Oh, man.
He's just making the calls.
I'd like to say that it's just beautifully baited, but it was just Peanut being in a fantastic place at exactly the right time.
Yeah. As we watch mid lane, goodbye.
Yeah. We've got, okay. Lehens is going to be able to grab that kill. Keen will find himself a bit of a reset there as they do manage to take down Gori, understanding that his flash was unavailable.
Might even just have a bit of a lane swap here, actually, as a result of this. And don't hate it too much, at least for the moment.
Yeah.
I think we're going to watch this again one more time with a different angle, as Keen is just unfortunately way outnumbered here. They commit the teleport, but Ryze is backing, so Keen's got no help. There's no backup here, so easy cleanup. You do see the teleport in from Fly later, but it's too late.
Yep.
And then Gory just way overextends, no respect shown to the fact that Lehens is missing bottom.
And Lens just flashes over the wall. He's like, we got this, boys. We need to get back into this game. As Kellen finds a hook. Lehens doesn't take too much damage from it, though. Doctarm also with Gravitum Infernum. Gravitum, of course, going to help him a lot if there is going to be an engage that he has to worry about. As Afreeca stack up a wave, shove it towards the Aphelios, and Doctarm's going to be very happy cleaning this one up.
Yep, very slow gun here to pick up the pieces.
Yep.
But Doctarm is ahead, very slightly, and that's what you want.
Ooh. Dread actually noticed Peanut here. Okay, finally is going to be found as Keen looks for Peanut. Rich gonna get into position, but Peanut still has to flash the wall.
My mistake, by the way, Doctarm was slightly behind, in fact. Just want to correct myself on that one. But look at the farm for Dread. It is not ideal, to put it nicely. He's still building into, his Leeching Leer here is eventually going to get his Riftmaker online. But the power of Gwen is often in side lanes, and if you're side laning later on, that means you're giving up a lot of jungle control, and if you can't ever trade or fight with the jungler later on because you're so far behind, you're never going to be able to win vision control, and if you can never win vision control, like, the problem is just compile, right? And Rich is always going to be able to poke and chunk down these champions because he's going to have impunity, essentially, while he's moving around the jungle, and it's not over by like a full certainty, but the massive lead that Nongshim have right now is going to be so difficult to overcome.
And I guess the reason the thing I'm asking is why put Gwen in the jungle instead of Viego or something like that, for example.
Yeah, it was quite puzzling to me too, especially
like what do you get from doing this genius switch up?
Because
I just don't necessarily know. Maybe it's like Rich has chosen awkward magic resist,
but yeah,
or something.
The choice is so bad against Jace either way. But
yeah, right. Like Viego or Gwen are probably going to have a similar experience. I guess Viego is going to be a little bit better, but maybe after the nerfs, it's not quite as pronounced.
It's hard because Rich is going to come down here and spoil this party too.
Well, Keen's going to come over as well, as Rich will try and steal it with a Shock Blast, I guess, but that ain't happening. Dread, of course, is going to be able to lock down the Smite. Does way too much damage these days.
Yep, Peanut does not actually commit. There's 3 control wards up for Afreeca around that pit, so actually 4, excuse me. So they have full vision control, and we'll end up being able to secure that one. But yeah, I mean, going back to the discussion, it's quite interesting because, what Viego offers you in the split push is very strong too. So it's not like you lose split pushing entirely, but what Viego can do in the jungle is a lot better than what Gwen is going to be able to do, especially from behind.
Yeah.
And so...
And also, Gwen struggled a lot in the lane in game number 1, and so trying to avoid that makes some sense after Rich did get, the last pick Jace. So maybe that was their ace card, but problem is that I don't think it solves the problem enough.
Oh.
I guess the conversation's almost irrelevant because right now the Jace is sitting 2-0-2, so he could be laning against the hardest of hard counters and still not care at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the, if I don't want to talk about farm, I'd rather just talk about the items. Look at the item difference between Peanut and Dread right now.
Yeah.
It's like he's got a Leeching Leer and he's like, I can heal.
When did Leeching Leer become a mythic item?
Yeah, it's not ideal. This is where you can't fight with this Gwen, He's going to try for it anyways, but...
Not going to be able to get in there. I was about to say level advantage, but that's irrelevant. As, of course, just always does 900 these days.
Yeah.
Sorry, moves back to the lane. Fly pretty close to getting himself a turret plate. Hadn't quite got there.
Well,
as Afreeca, they will be able to throw down this Rift Herald and give Fly a bit of extra money.
I mean, it's huge that Fly is getting all of this extra gold because now you have to rely on him. But when you don't have consistent engage tools outside of him defensively rooting people, basically, or maybe he gets an offensive one, depending on how the setup is going to be, it's really hard to team fight with Afreeca's comp. And that's the issue bigger than the 1,600 gold lead that Nongshim have right now. Is Rich ready for this?
Yeah, trying to get out of there. There's the slow. Lehens. Not going to be able to find anything. Rich makes it far enough but still going to miss out on a bunch of farm here. Doc Dumb also going to be able to pick some extra up because, of course, Lehens had vacated the area. Ignite and Flash now on cooldown for the Rel. So you can see that Lehens is like, he's desperately trying to untilt the rest of his team by being everywhere on this map.
He's trying to save the day so badly, but when you are unable to find those picks when you do roam as a support, you're giving the Aphelios so much power, which Duckdom has had so much of throughout this entire year of League of Legends. He's going to go for the Immortal Shield Bow here this game. Really appreciate the choice, and I mean, how do you recover now as Afreeca without really just getting lucky with mistakes from the side of Nongshim, somebody overextending? Like, it's so difficult to actually find a way to flank or engage because your comp needs time to come online, but Nongshim's not going to give it to you. You're not going to have vision. It's, I mean, we're going to watch this kind of snowball roll down the hill unless it just breaks halfway down.
Yeah, we need to find a way of, you know, getting all of these things off the Katamari. I don't know how Afreeca are going to do it, but a Ryze that's winning lane, especially being 20 CS up over the Lucian, of course. Gori has been elsewhere around the map trying to get advantages as Keen takes a full combo.
He's going to take more than that once this cooldown's up.
Yeah. Try and get out of the way. I believe the mist on cooldown, and so Peanut comes on through. He's going to help grab a few of these plates. And yeah, I'll grab this last one as Peanut tanks one shot, but there we go.
I don't know about this teleport. I guess they're not going to react to it, but yeah, the funny thing is,
Ryze was almost in Realm Warp range.
Yeah.
So Nongshim intelligently back away.
Peanut is like, well, I took all your jungle. I've cleared all my jungle. I guess I'll come up and help get some turret plays because there's nothing left for me to get on the map. So far ahead, is basically immortal. Now has his stopwatch online, so he's got no fear. There's no one who can threaten him in a team fight. Even if Gwen gets on top of him after he's used his Moonfall or something like that, like, he's probably okay to just straight up 1v1 her. And even if he's low, he's got the stopwatch to back off. So Afreeca have to figure out some surprise angle to engage on.
They have kind of stabilized a little bit, though. I mean, this gold lead has not really extended very much. And yes, it's difficult to snowball things like this early in a game like this. It's Peanut looking to dive forward, looking for Fly. He's going to run pretty fast with that phase rush. It should be okay, as Rich and Keen just fighting one another up here. Still decent advantage for Rich, about a wave and a half, I believe, as the dust settles. Biggest advantage is, of course, Peanut versus Dread. Peanut 202, also 40 CS ahead, or 35, I guess, if you want to be pedantic about it.
It's not even about the fact that Peanut has this lead and has these items. It's more about the fact that Dread is not really a champion, unfortunately, in this game. Like, I mean, the Peanut lead is massive, but like, Dread can't be here.
Yeah,
can't get his
ball
butt.
comes through. Yeah, they get inside the mist. So Gwen most certainly is not immune. As, yeah, he's a bit of a ragdoll in this situation. I don't know who managed to get the blue buff, but in the end, it was Peanut because he managed to take down the Gwen. Riftmaker's done, though, guys. So at least there's that.
Yeah, it's going to make him slightly more of a champion, but still not. But he's...
Maybe Dread is the Gwa in this game.
Yeah, the Gwa you guys were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Well, Rich is going to finally finish off this turret. And it will be the first of the game, so first turret blood going over here to Nongshim. So a lot of extra gold to a fed Rich who carried last game and is ready to do it again.
He's just... I'm sure he's so excited to be back on his Jace, you know? He's like, once again, I'm on a champion that I know extraordinarily well. He is certainly a real comfort player when it comes to, you know, his power picks.
It's really strong.
2 games in a row, feels real good about it.
It's really strong into 3 champions that are extremely meta right now. The Gwen, the Viego, and also the Gnar. So you're going to see it a lot more.
Gori's going to move back into this mid lane. Fly having a really good game, to be perfectly honest.
He really is.
Everything.
Yeah, against the Lucian, he's ahead in CS, as you pointed out earlier.
He's been able to push an advantage, which is something that Fly hasn't really been able to do that much.
Yeah, he certainly has, you know, really subverted expectations in this game, especially considering Nongshim's lead here. They're actually going to set up for this Drake with the back timing a little bit awkward here for Nongshim. They give up this objective.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, not the end of the world here, but definitely could be snowballing the lead better.
There's my Cloud Soul. I thought I wasn't going to have one in this whole game, this whole day. But I do get it. So we're going to check out this pick once again.
Like, I mean, on one hand, it's ridiculous to think if you're Dread, that you can even be here. But on the other hand, like if you don't come here and try to like take money from your own jungle, then like why are you even in the game? Like it's a lose-lose situation. It's just so far behind.
Yeah, it's just a little bit rough. 16 minutes on the clock, and Shirley is going to crash into the outer turret. Meanwhile, Lehen's getting taken down very low. Has the best item in the game, though, as Leo flashes away. Lehen's is real dead. Doctom gonna grab that kill from all the way over the wall.
Grabbed him pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all. Did have to use his flashes, now Fly's real dead. And Dread probably gonna follow suit as he dashes multiple times, but Flash is gonna answer that one pretty comfortably as Rich picks up another kill. And Nongshim pretty sad that it's only 16.5 minutes into this game because they would have been thinking it's Baron time.
Yeah,
but it is not.
Keen looks like he's gonna be able to escape, but that is the only consolation prize here for Afreeca. He didn't even get the turret on the top side of the map, but you know, you were saying like, it feels like they're stabilizing, you know, it feels like maybe they're...
Yeah, I dared to dream, Wolf. I wanted this to go back into being a video game, but unfortunately it's still a slaughter.
This was the moment where it stopped being one, as Doctom over the wall here, beautifully played.
He really did not need to flash
absolutely
there, but he really wanted to get that kill.
I mean, when you're this far ahead and you're trying to be flashy, like, the game was decided with or without you, basically. Like, it's a terrible game when you're winning this hard and you're like, maybe I'll get POG, but the game was like decided in the first, 5 minutes, and you're like, well, I got to do something cool to maybe get some points.
Yeah. And is my flash even that relevant when my jungler is 60 CS ahead? Maybe not so much. Because now it's 5,000 plus a bit of change ahead for Nongshim.
He's got the double. Oh no, he actually didn't get a second stopwatch yet. He just finished the Zonias. So I was going to say we're going to maybe see the double Zonias again. Not yet.
Not quite as gory. He's going to get stunned up just a little, but Fly able to move himself out of the way. Lehen's over here. Dread was trying to stay in support as well.
Gory is not really falling for this. Handled that pretty well, and is actually even calling for his teammates to rotate in here. This is a very scary moment for Nongshim, or rather for Afreeca. Nongshim just really don't have anything to worry about right now. They can trap, they can rotate, and if they overcommit to a rotation, it's not like Keen can really threaten anything or split push super hard right now. He's never going to be safe. He's just waiting for waves to come to him. It's just really sad.
Yeah, just not a lot of ways back into this game after the start that they had, man. Like, it's just really rough. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, Gwen jungle, Keck W's, things like that, but I don't think this has anything to do with that, outside of the fact that it was Dread that got caught, but he could have been any champion.
Yeah.
And he just walked in and warded a red buff when he really shouldn't have done so. And as you can see, the entire lead is on the top side of the map. Peanut and Rich are just so far ahead.
Anyone who's played jungle before, because I know everyone watching plays League of Legends, but not everybody plays jungle, but it's the worst position to get behind in the early game.
Oh, absolutely is. In goes Peanut. And Moonlight Vigil comes down. That is a very comfy kill for Doctom as, okay, Peanut, he's already Zonia's, but he's able to get out alive. Good knock up onto Dread. The culling is going to come through, and it's in fact somehow Kellen that locks down that one with the last tick of Ignite or something of that ilk.
Yeah, looks like it was Ignite. It might have been his ult, but I don't think so. I think it was Ignite. Pretty easy cleanup here on the turret.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing Afreeca could do. Sadly, Keen is like, well, I'm going to get this turret, and that's all I could do. And you can't blame him. It's just going to be all that Afreeca can do on the map right now, and he gets away with it, which is, considering the state of the game, a huge win, in fact, for him. The fact that he's able to just go on the side and get a turret should not be possible, but it is. As Peanut does not have the double stopwatch as mentioned, but this is enough to get him out of turret aggro. Dread still turns on him, but he's not aggroed by the turret. Kellen's able to turn that one. Still gets out here with a really nice hook. And is it the Ignite?
Really? Yeah, it is. Man. Nongshim playing that one really nicely, but when Peanut can just dive with impunity, you know he's going to. That's why Nongshim is so scary when they get leads. And because Peanut can always capitalize. He just knows how much he can take.
If you give Peanut even a small lead, he takes it so far, but in a game like this where he has the biggest lead, I mean, he is a player who will push the envelope on what's possible with the champion. You and I were talking about how he was a great Rumble player. He played a little bit in Italy this season, but his Diana was a big standout. And now that she's like the new top tier jungle above the Rumble, it's a great meta to be Peanut, right? And he's going to feel more comfortable playing this champion. It's not even really a risk. You're not even reliant on Nocturne necessarily. You can get a lead like this to steal all the camps. Like, the map belongs to Peanut, not even Nongshim. It's his.
No, exactly. As Kellen looks for a hook, doesn't quite find it, but Rich is going to be able to take the big Raptor. I've seen this play before. It's like the same one. As Leo's going to miss his ult, but it is flash invested. Peanut still has his. Moonfall now on cooldown for only a little bit. And we'll see whether Nongshim just go over and grab themselves a dragon so that they can Moonfall a little bit more often.
That's going to be exactly what they do. They're also going to make sure there's no way Afreeca can trade Baron. They just send 3 here. Rich is over here looking for Dread. I actually really like this trap that Afreeca set. They put Keen on the top side, pushed really deep. Rich actually, really nice presence of mind, realizing, okay, there's no way Keen thinks that he can get away with this. He's setting a trap. We don't have vision of Dread or Lehen, so he does not challenge this. And they actually will clear away the Baron vision for just a moment, but that's all they could do. There's no way they could start this.
I like the positivity, though. That was definitely good. Had a little bit of a moment where we could talk about good stuff that Afreeca's doing, or can do this game, because it's not even that now Afreeca are making bad choices. It's that from like a minute and a half in the game, they did not have any choices that they could make. Outside of them being, let's try and force some engages and force some situations where things are going to be okay. And unfortunately, Nongshim read them like a book and were able to be there.
It was two problems, right? Dread getting picked and then wasting his exhaust, and then the second time where he could have tried to turn around that timing, he was definitely going to go for regardless with this Gwen pick where he has the exhaust. Normally, he did not have it in this case because he used it to try to survive. That pick doesn't work, and that gives over so much gold to Nongshim. Peanut and Rich turn that around. If that goes well, then maybe they actually could turn it around, but he failed twice, and that was just the moment the game ended, as Keen can't even exist in a side lane.
It's real rough. Gary gonna spot him out, but instead he's just gonna head back down and continue ping-ponging some waves. Split pushing Lucian. Not exactly the most oppressive Lucian that we've seen. However, he's done his job and was definitely able to augment all of the power that Nongshim demonstrated on the top side. That teleport in,
it's interesting.
Try and flex on Keen.
You got Sorelda's, but I mean, I guess there's 2 steel caps for Afreeca.
Yep.
He's like just gonna get through that armor.
It's an interesting second item.
Yeah, I'm like,
you're right. I mean, I feel like Essence Reaver is just a bit good
I'm just like,
on this variety.
Pretty strange, but okay. You know, you do you, Corey. Doesn't really matter at this point, but you know, if I see something a little bit out of the ordinary like that in a game like this, I'm just gonna point it out.
Yep. Means basically nothing, as the red buff is going to go over to Doctarm pretty comfortably. Noting as well that Doctarm on the Aphelios, just happy to, you know, continue farming, get to 3 items as quickly as possible, and then I don't know what Afreeca do. I mean, they dive onto an Aphelios, he kills them. But also, Peanut dives under them, he kills them.
I mean, there's just no dive in the equation, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I see no positive outcome for Afreeca if these 2 teams interact in any way.
Yeah, Lehens doesn't have his... Oh, my God. Well, that couldn't have looked sadder.
Yeah.
But
kind of like this game a little bit, that moment.
Yeah, kind of just epitomizes everything, but no stopwatch for the Rel means that Lehens can't even have like the miracle engage where he forces it no matter what, and everybody gets caught, and then maybe Dread gets the biggest Q with his ultimate off as well, and then suddenly you get a kill onto Gory maybe. Like, I mean, I'm really just reaching here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, pass the Copium Wolf. A really rough time.
And what's sad is actually both of these series today looked like they might have been super hyped just based on the first series today was, okay, can Live Sandbox make a dent into Damwon Kia, and then Damwon Kia showed up big again, just like they did against Gen.G, so that one ended up being a bit of a wash, and then this one, interesting draft in Game 2 after a very close and very interesting Game 1, but the draft falls apart in the first 4 minutes, and then we're watching 20 more minutes of this, and
yeah,
it gets worse the more time that goes on. Today ended up being, you know, did not live up to expectations, let's just say.
And also, the home team lost with every single side of the map that they chose. As Fly now going to try and use a defensive Everfrost, and that's going to get him killed. Unfortunately, well, actually, it wasn't the Everfrost that did it. However, he's still dead, as Gory might be in trouble. The culling, though, has to be respected here from Keen, who's like, well, I guess I can't actually do anything. Gory's got his teleport. He can come with the rest of his team if he would like to. The ward still in this Baron pit is giving Afreeca a lot of information. What they can do with it, though, is going to be the question. Teleport comes forward, exactly, from Gory. as they're looking for the re-engage. Oh my god, the damage is just revolting.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Earthbound's going to go back to the Baron. And yeah, it's all in a day's work here for Nongshim.
10,000 gold lead now, about to be extended by this Baron take. Going to be 1,500 on top of that. Rich is just flashing bees over here.
Was that a sad bee or a happy bee? I don't know, it got interrupted.
I think it was happy bee. I think it was the smiling one that kind of like colon D.
Yeah, it's a bit off-brand though. I feel like Rich is like sad beat so many times now that I need that to happen every time. Is Kellen just gonna flash off?
Yeah, this was
too easy.
Flies, Everfrost there like kept the Sentinel off his back for a second, but I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures. As we watch Peanut's damage, like, does anyone else on Nongshim even need to turn? I'm pretty sure Peanut can handle this by himself. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's basically 3 champions in 1 champion right now, as he's 5-0-6. I think maybe Diana's a bit of a problem, so far we've had quite a few pretty good Diana performances. I'm pretty sure she might be 3 for 3 as far as Pogs are concerned for this evening.
Yeah, it's been consistent, let's just say, and you know, it's a meta where there's a lot of stuff that's broken, let's just say. And even times where some broken champions get tuned or, you know, nerfed, the new one takes the place.
I see Leo discovered that Rich does a fair bit of damage.
It was a painful discovery.
Yes, indeed. As Peanut also has a couple of books. One is the Forbidden Book and the other one is the Best Book.
Indeed.
Doc Dom here in the mid lane will be able to just rip through these Nexus turrets. And man, Afreeca, 13,000 gold behind. It's just so sad. This game just was over so fast.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the worst game of the season so far, sadly, for Afreeca. And it's not, I mean, it is their fault for the early game, but the rest of this game, they just tried to play it out.
Oh yeah, we're going to find a hook here. Pretty nice work from Kellen. Has the stopwatch, of course, as Lehens is going to die. Gori looking for Leo, decides to settle for Fly. Flashes onto Leo, though. It was all a bait. Now he's just fighting the Rise. Rise gets to the fountain, but I have a feeling it's not going to matter. Gori loses out on that 1v1, but when it's a 1v4, the Rise is still dead. And Nongshim, from an early game domination standpoint, roll over the top of Afreeca in game